And sorry about that, folks. We did not have sound there, some technical difficulties in the studio, but should be all good and set now. As I said, folks, sorry you missed some action there. One play, the Irishmen end up getting 6 points, and they're going to be kicking the extra point here. Actually, going for two on the fake. Same man who caught that was tackled up. That is number 5, Tegan Duffy. And to recap you on some things that you missed out on, one of the big things I wanted to mention is this is almost a playoff game for these two teams. They are both 2-2, both having heartbreaking losses in the last week, and for East Jordan the last 2 weeks, that is. And one of the things that they both have in common, other than their 2-2 record, is home losses to Kalkaska Blazers, a team a lot of people kind of wrote off, that they haven't really been great so far for the last, maybe decade or so, but they're coming out here 4-0, and they're playing Joburg this week, which, we don't want to put too much emphasis on, but this is a team East Jordan did beat 56-0 in week 2, so, all things considered, Kalkaska should be going in 5-0 into this next game, but not about Kalkaska. This is about the Irishmen and the Red Devils, and it's been a great game so far. And one of the things you missed was number 7, Nate Seiler, the quarterback for the Irishmen, throwing a bomb on first down, and it was caught by Tegan Duffy. Brady Wilson was on the coverage. Wide receiver going up there. I'm sure the East Jordan fans were thinking, hey, we got our wide receiver basically going for a jump ball, and Brady Wilson, he's got a few of those in his career, so, expecting a potential pick on that play, and Keegan ends up coming down with it, or Tegan, excuse me, and waltzing in for 6 points. They did not get the extra point, excuse me. They went for a fake and didn't end up getting it. But they're going to be huddling up here. Second drive for East Jordan, their first drive, pretty decent so far. They had 3 plays, first down, and then they just penalties. Penalties have been the killer for this team as long as I've watched them, and I think they know that, this is a playoff game. And real quick, we're going to see a pickup here by a Red Devil. Not see the number off the top of my head. I believe it was Wyatt Penny. Actually, excuse me, it was Hunter Whitebird with the return, and a solid return up to the 40-yard line. And this is really a playoff game. I've said this before. I said this, but we're going to reiterate this. The way that we calculate these sort of things is we use snooze to you, and it is a great way. They basically have this code, this mapatology, and we'll get more into it after this play. But it's really interesting, and I encourage all you guys to take a gander at it. Here, as we see Webb under in the shotgun with 3 guys out to the right on first down. High snap, fielded by Webb, and that is out to Max Beal, getting some good blocks, and finally taken out of bounds by Tegan Duffy. Nice 6-yard gain on first play. Nothing really to be that upset about on this first play, but going back to snooze to you, it's a great way that shows all the playoff points and how they calculate potential home playoff games and whatnot. And East Jordan, after the last week did get bumped out, but with a win here, the Irishmen, Sacred Heart, Mount Pleasant, they are in. So they're trying to take their spot right now for the playoffs, as we're going to see Webb under Brady Wilson on the motion. Miscommunication, looks like another false start for the offense here. Five-yard penalty on that play. Going to make it 2nd and 9. But just to finish that thought, a potential loss here, there are 3 to 4 win teams that do make the playoffs. And, we only are on week 5, which is about the midway point, I guess, of the high school season. And I think these guys know this game means a little bit more than all the other ones have. And 2 early penalties, not the way that Adam Grabowskis and the Red Devils want to start their team, but it's early on. It's only been about 8 minutes into the game. We'll see some adjustments. We'll see them settle in, I'm sure. This team is confident. They know they've got playmakers on all sides of the ball. And we're going to see a 2nd and 9. Will Webb taking the snap and a handoff to Max Beal. He's going to be contacted right at the line of scrimmage. First Irishman to get there, I believe, was Caleb Strouch. And one of the things I saw on the pregame watching these guys warm up was they being the Irishmen, have a lot of energy. news through the coach. You can see it through the players, just through warm-ups, all their chanting, all their things. And every high school's got their own rendition of it, but it was echoing through the woods here in Boswell. It was quite a sight to behold. And, they're trying to get the energy for their own team, because they got to have it as the away team. And we're going to see William Webb getting blitzed out edge, and Max Beal getting there, potentially on a screen pass, and Max Beal is going to make a man miss, going upfield, and he is going to be in for 6 points. Max Beal with another big play. Big play merchant, I will say that right now. This game, within 5 minutes, we've seen 2 50-plus yard touchdowns. East Jordan is just a big play team. I was mentioning it earlier when you guys couldn't hear me, but the last week in week 4, they played Glen City Lakers. And they ended up having plays over 50 yards. All 3 of their touchdowns were just absolute bombs. 2 of them by Will Webb, and then throwing it through the air, 1 to Max Beal. Actually, 2 of those to Max Beal, and the other one using his legs to get in, and they're going to be going for the 2-point conversion here, and this would actually give them the lead. As Webb is going to hand off to Beal, and looks like he dove his way into the end zone. First contacted at the line of scrimmage, but Max Beal, as you Red Devil fans know, one-of-a-kind player, and he's going to make that contact and bounce it off and get right into the end zone. And we're going to see a 2-point lead for the Red Devils, as we're going to take a real quick break here. This is the Next Level Show. Jared Stamen, Ryan, my wonderful cameraman. We will be right back. Oh, my gosh. I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I did not have.
Hi, I'm Orion.
Audio
you might know me from my business, Professional Seamless Gutters, where we specialize in, you guessed it, everything gutters. New installations, replacements, cleaning, leaf guards, rain chains, and much more. But unlike other service providers, when you call Professional Seamless Gutters, you get me, Orion, not some bum intern or call center recording. So when you're contemplating any services regarding your gutters on your home or pole barn, think Professional Seamless Gutters.
And welcome back to Boswell Stadium. Jared Stamen, Ryan, our wonderful camera guy here, bringing you live Northern Michigan football coverage. And been quite the eventful one. 2 touchdowns. Opening drive for East Jordan, ended up punting it. 1 play for the Irishmen to go down the field on a bomb 50-50 ball. And then Max Beal on a screen pass, making a couple guys miss and run that in for 6 yards. And we're going to see the classic East Jordan, who's going to kick it game for the onside, and Irishmen are going to get it about the 47-ish yard line. That's definitely something to note here for East Jordan, is that they have kind of, I don't know if mastered's the right way, but found a way to get extra possessions through the onside kick. They'll kind of run this 2, and sometimes, like right there, you see 3 potential kickers. So are they going to kick it left? Are they going to kick it right? Are they going to kick it normal? Keeping the other team on edge, and it's led to some extra possessions for the Red Devils. And we're going to see the Irishmen see if they going to be a 1-play touchdown again, or if it's going to be a little bit more of a long drive, as Maxim Lynch takes that ball, looking like back to the line of scrimmage at best. This defensive front for the Red Devils is quite the front. Number 51 is a guy to watch, Griffin Boyer, as well as number 55, Thomas Mayhew. Those types of guys are the guys pressuring their quarterbacks and kind of giving them a bit of a heyday back there. And actually earlier on the 1-play touchdown, there was pressure by number 56, Wyatt Dione. Ball ends up still getting out, and as you guys saw with that 50-50 ball, ends up going this way. But we're going to see a 2nd and 10 here. Looks like a direct snap handed off to Tegan Duffy. No yards on that play again. A lot of Red Devils there wrapping them up. First one there looked to be Max Beal. 3rd and 10. We didn't really know what to say after this, first drive of the offense for the Irishmen. They just chucked it down the field, and it ended up working for them. So we're going to see some of the bench Jordan players pumping up the crowd. They didn't know this was a big 3rd down. They can get the ball back, get momentum going, and I think they kind of know this game means, like I said, a little bit more than just a regular season game. This is a potential, could you make the playoffs if you lose this game? These are questions you don't maybe want to think about, but unfortunately, they're questions you got to ask. And we're going to see the motion man, Nico Vasquez. He's going to take that ball. Looks like about 8 yards there. Garrison Henry looked to be the devil to finally drag him down there. This is the decision now for the Irishmen. Are they going to go for it? We saw earlier the Red Devils lined up to go for it on a 4th and 5 on their first drive. Ended up taking a timeout and punting the ball away. Kind of a similar situation, midfield. They're, I guess, on the opponent's territory on East Jordan's 47-yard line. These are the types of make or break situations. It's early in the game. It's only 5:54 left. We've only had 6 minutes of football, but East Jordan gets the ball back here on a turnover on downs. You could see the momentum really swing for the Red Devils as we're going to see the snap here from Sacred Heart. And it looks like that was Tegan Duffy on the carry, and they're going to give him a first down there. It was awfully close. He hit the first Red Devil and kind of got stopped in his tracks, but it wasn't a little bit too late, unfortunately. Setting up a 1st and 10 from the 41. Both these teams coming off a loss in Week 4, trying to bounce back here in Week 5, and we're going to see, I believe there was a number change for the quarterback for Sacred Heart Irish. I believe it is still Nate Seiler out there, but his number is now 35. We're going to see him take the snap, fake the handoff on a read option, get into the second level. Garrison Henry there for the strip, and it looks like the Irishmen were able to jump right back on that ball, but great play there by Garrison Henry, trying to strip that ball out, a little peanut punch potentially, and trying to get those turnovers early. Going to throw pivotal throughout the game. Ends up being about an 8-yard gain there for the Irishmen, though. All things considered, got back on the ball, but something to look out for if you're the Red Devils. Ball security issues, always something you want to test out early on these teams. And Nate Seiler in the shotgun there. Ends up handing it off on a zone look, making one-man miss, and it looks like he is going to be going all the way there, and that is Tegan Duffy again on the touchdown for the Irishmen. What a run. I got to say, this young man, haven't seen a lot of him before today, but he is really some name to watch. And I heard earlier that they do have a kicker that they feel pretty comfortable with, but he's actually out today with a little bit of knee issues. So we're going to be going for 2 points here instead of the extra point. Seiler looking downfield, and he's going to end up throwing it out of the back of the end zone. Incomplete. 0 for 2 on the 2-point conversions. And real quick, we're going to go thank Professional Seamless Gutters. Your home gutters are always there when you need them to be, and so is our good friend Orion Beningo. And that's why he started Professional Seamless Gutters. Professional Seamless Gutters offers fast and experienced service and real-time quotes. But wait, there's more. They'll actually answer your phone call. That's Professional Seamless Gutters at 989-619-3407. And tell them we sent you. So far, 4 possessions, 3 touchdowns. Offense has been the staple of the game so far, and the first drive that ended up in the only drive that was no points. Really got derailed from penalties, and actually was on third and 23, about a 15-yard completion. Will Webb to Brady Wilson kind of put it in that potential go-for-it range, ended up punting it away, and you kind of know the rest from there. Irishmen, a lot of times before these kickoffs, they have a huddle up, and a lot of teams will do huddle up, but I'm curious if they're going to be running any sort of trickery through that huddle. If seems like a pretty traditional kickoff style, but that's maybe how you can lull them into something. Just speculating here, as we're going to see a short kick here, and it's going to go out of bounds. Going to be an illegal procedure on the Irishmen, and the ball will be at the 40-yard line, I believe. Smart there by the Red Devils, knowing just let that thing go out of bounds. It's not going to help you trying to pick it up there. The Red Devils looking to score again. It was about this point in the field, actually, last drive, where the screen pass to Max Beal went for 6 points, got the 2-point conversion, which is why we are at 8 points here. And this is the first snap on the third drive for William Webb in the Red Devils. Looks like it's going to be a quarterback power move. Will Webb lowering the head, but not going to get much more than about 2 yards there. A lot of Irishmen tackling up there. Looks like one of the first guys on there was Mark Karami. Second and 8 here. Haven't really seen a lot from either of these offenses. Even though we have 20 points in this game, they've all kind of been these big splash plays. There hasn't been any long drives. Neither defense has been truly tested, I would say, yet through this first quarter. So, it's a little bit hard to tell where the momentum lies. If East Jordan can go down here and score 6 points, then I think, the pendulum swings back in their direction, as we're going to see a motion, faking it to Wilson and giving it to Max Beal, and he is piled up. Multiple Irishmen there again. Levi Lynch, one of the few on the tackle, setting up about a 3rd and 5, 3 to 4 yards on that carry. But the thing about Max Beal is that 4 yards carry is great for him. Even 2 is great, because what he does is he contacts the other guys first. He's not a guy waiting to get hit to bounce off. He seeks the contact, and as a defender, that's a little bit scarier than a guy, that's just out there trying to make you miss. He's trying to run you over, and that's going to be tiring through 4 quarters, as we're going to see a 3rd and 4. Webb looking to the coach, make sure he's got the play right, and Max Beal taking it up the center. Looks like he's going to be stopped just a bit short there. We got Levi Lynch, and I believe it was Tegan Duffy potentially on that stop there. 2 of the Irishmen just running up to him and saying, no more. You're not going to get any more there, because it looked like he was going to have the first down, but they're going to mark him 2 yards short on a 4th and 2. And around this spot in the field, first drive, they ended up going for the punt. Looks like the offense is going to be staying out there, even though William Webb is the punter for East Jordan. Looks like they're going to be lining up in a typical offensive formation. And I know it might be too early to say this is a very important game-changing play, but around midfield, this is a play where you really want to have it. And it looks like Webb is going to have the first down there. Finally wrestled out of bounds by Levi Lynch. Who would have thought? Number 8 out there. A name looks like we're going to be calling quite a lot tonight. He's kind of all over the place from that linebacker spot, I believe, and making a play there. Early penetration by Sacred Heart. Looked like they kind of might have gotten in the backfield for potential TFL and a turnover, but William Webb, with his athleticism, being able to get out on the edge and pick up the first down. And first down for Webb in the offense. 2 men in the backfield behind him. Looks like a fake to both, and Max Beal is going to end up getting that, but right out of bounds. Looks like he's going to actually lose a yard or even 2 on that play. Maybe one of those ones where, in hindsight, you'd rather just drop it. It looks like they're actually going to mark him. Yeah, I believe it's 2 yards shy of, 2-yard loss there. So that's going to be a 2nd and 12 for the offense. And this is somewhat something we've seen a little bit is the first 3 downs for the East Jordan Red Devils, they look great. And then they get a penalty. And it just kind of, or they get a loss on first down. You know, these kind of like backwards plays, and it just seems to kind of baffle them, and they kind of just get stuck right here. Really like to see if they can take advantage of their skill set and get out of here with positive yards, as William Webb's going to decide to keep that ball and make a couple guys miss, as who else but Levi Lynch there on the tackle. You know, Levi Lynch kind of saved a potential touchdown there. We've seen William Webb break them free multiple times. Last week we saw him have a 53-yard run, I believe, and it looks like there's a flag on the play, and it is a face mask on the defense. It's going to be an extra 15 yards on top of the nice run by Webb. And something that looks like Sacred Heart's going to have to deal with, too, is just these disciplined plays, not letting, you know, the heat of the moment get to you. I think these guys know that they're kind of in a potential playoff game right now, even though it's only the 5th week of the season. A loss here could really derail your playoff hopes. As we see Webb and Beal in the back. Webb's going to keep it again, making a man miss. And that has been really something I've noticed from Max Beal and especially William Webb, is the first guy seems to just kind of bounce right off them. They're just ready for this contact, and they're not afraid to shake these guys off and show them, like, hey, we're athletes, and this is our home field. This is homecoming for East Jordan. I'm sure many of you guys are actually out here in the stands. It is a packed house right now for East Jordan at Boswell Stadium, as we're going to see William Webb under center here for 2nd and 3. But the quarter ends up running out a little bit behind on our clock. That will be the first quarter. Next Level Broadcasting. This is Jared Stamen, my wonderful camera guy, Ryan. We're going to send you over to a quick word for some of our sponsors. We will be right back.
The Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center of East Jordan provides a safe place to be and a path to become for 6th through 12th grade teens, with after-school programming 3 days a week with a hot, nutritious meal. On Thursdays after school, the Depot provides life skill classes like cooking, art, and career readiness. And new this year is Becoming You, a program for homeschool students that provides a structured environment, tutoring, and a healthy lunch. For more info on all of our programs, please visit ejdepot.org.
And welcome back to Boswell Field. Jared Stamen, Ryan, our camera guy, here tonight, bringing you Northern Michigan football, week number 5. East Jordan does have the ball in the red zone on about a 2nd and 3 from the Irish 12-yard line. East Jordan looking to punch this one in here, and because of the 2-point conversion they got earlier and their defense on the 2-point conversions for the Irish, they would take a lead just by getting the touchdown to be a 14-6, a 14-12. Big, 2-point conversions are going to be big here for these games if they can convert them, as we are going to see 2nd and 3. Webb's going to hand it off to Beal, and he's going to be swallowed up quickly by Leland O'Connor, one of the many freshmen on this Sacred Heart Academy Irish team. One of the coolest things I will say is, they're a bit of a smaller school. Got to use the players they have available. And if I counted right, there's about 6 freshmen that are on this varsity team, and you just saw one of them right there, Leland O'Connor, number 6, making the play there. Something to watch. A little bit more youth on this team. Potentially more mistakes. We'll see. As Webb hands it off to Beal, and he looks like he's going to be swallowed up. It was a 3rd and 1. It looks like the line judge, the far side judge, is going to mark him short from the line to gain. Yeah, and they're going to mark him short. It is 4th and maybe a foot, maybe inches even. Looks like the Devil offense naturally is going to be staying out there on this 4th down. Hand it off to Beal, and Beal is going to get the first down. Going down to about the 2-yard line. Potentially looked like he was going to balance and kind of stumble his way in for 6 points. Ends up getting stopped at, they're going to mark it the 4-yard line. So 4 yards to the house. They got 4 plays to do it. You know, I won't have the announcer's curse, so I'm not even going to say anything about, you know, the treacherous T word. But likely we're going to see, I'm going to bank it right now, a Max Beal touchdown. Probably the highest odds for any of my gamblers out there, probably a minus 200, but you can't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're going to pitch it out to Max Beal. He's going to get on the edge. He made one guy miss on a great cut there, but ends up just too many Irish guys to fight through to get down to there. It looked like 3 of them were on that edge, wrapping him up for no gain on the play. The only time we've actually seen any red zone offense so far today, all of our touchdowns and any scoring has come from these big plays pretty much past the 50-yard line. First time we're going to really see this Irish defense. They've got, so we're going to see a second, they're going to give them 1 yard in that last play, so a 2nd and 3 from the goal, 2nd and goal, but 2nd and 3 from touchdown. And Webb is going to keep, and he is going to be hit right around that line. Does he get pushed in or not? Early signal is yes, and both refs are going to say that is a touchdown for East Jordan. William Webb on the quarterback keeper there. Punches it in for 6. And without the 2-point conversion yet, they're still up 14-12, playing great defense against the Irish 2-point conversions. They are 0 for 2. 1 for 1 so far for East Jordan, trying to make it 2 for 2. Looks like Brady Wilson is back out there. He seemed to be a little shaken up after a couple plays, but great to see him back out there. The number 1 wideout for this Jordan team. Webb's going to be on the left side of the field looking for Wilson, but looks like it's going to be a touch high and floats over his head. Incomplete. But still holding the lead here, 14-12. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to the Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center. Did you know the Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center in East Jordan will serve over 5,000 healthy meals this year to local teens? To learn more about what the Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center is doing for the youth, visit them online at ejdepot.com. Also want to give a shout out to Sky Media 45. Need to enhance your brand? Sky Media 45 combines excellent photography with post-production to create stunning video and image content. Showcase your community event or business with our expert aerial solutions. We're ready to fly for you. Visit us at skymedia45.com. Shout out to Tom Clemenson, part of Sky Media 45 and part of the Next Level Broadcasting crew. And if you guys ever catch the Next Level Broadcasting show, Thursdays around 6:30, me, Eric Hoffman, Charles Strail, and Tom Clemenson, usually the 4 guys you're going to see during that segment. We talk every day about our sports for the following week and what happened our last week, as we also would, dabble in some Michigan sports, our Lions, or if you're Spartans, Wolverines, and even to the Central, as we're going to see a short kick here, scooped up by Maxim Lynch, another one of the freshmen for the Irishmen. Second time we've seen kind of the onside kick look from the Red Devils kind of become a pattern for them, I would want to say. Almost every game I've watched, and this is, I believe, my 4th Red Devil game this year, you see it at least once. Week 1 against Manistee, they did end up pulling it off, extra possession. It did lead 2 points in their Week 1 win against Manistee. Trying to get the extra possessions here, and the ball's going to be marked on the Irish 49, right about the 50-yard line, and Oh, and in the backfield to snuff that up, I believe it was Griffin Boyer. Excuse me, actually, it was Thomas Mayhew, and he looks to be a little shaken up after the play. You don't want to speculate too much, but that is, well, holding his gut. He might have got the wind knocked out of him a little bit. One of the stars on this defensive and offensive line for East Jordan. Hopefully it's just a cramp, and he'll be right back out there. Looks like he just needs a bit of a breather. After no yards on that play, we're going to see a 2nd and 10 for the Irishmen. Nate Seiler back there handed it off to Maxim Lynch, and looks like it's going to be a small gain there. Give him about a yard there, and this is the second time we've seen the East Jordan defense just stomping them on these first two, drives, or the first two starts of a drive. They get the first down, or they start the drive and then go for maybe 1 yard, get back to scrimmage, get them back again, and then they've converted these 3rd and long. So the issue right now for the Red Devils is just they don't want to make it a 4th and manageable, because I think you'll see them go for it if it's anything 4th and 5 or less. So, and you kind of have this mental edge of 5 yards is the line to gain, not 10. As we're going to see Nate Seiler under center, play action, looking down the field, and it's going to be short and intercepted by Brady Wilson. Great play by him, shaking up a little bit on the last drive, but coming up there to make the quick interception for East Jordan. And what a play for Brady Wilson. Earlier in the game, he was in coverage on the long ball to Teagan Duffy, and he was on the wrong end of that 50-50 ball, but making up for it right there, giving the ball right back to the offense after just 3 plays. And they'll be getting the ball about the 42-yard line, so not too far to get into that precious big house for the wonderful 6 points. As Devils concur with Adam Grabowskis to make sure they've got all the right calls for their, I believe, 5th drive of the game. Max Beal up the gut, and he is swallowed up by many defenders. First on contact was Maxim Lynch. Called his name a few times in these last couple plays. Like I mentioned, another one of the freshmen there. Losing about 2 yards there on the carry. Setting up a 2nd and 12. But one thing we've become accustomed to for East Jordan is big plays. So 2nd and 12, really not a ton of threat for this team, especially with their field position, likely to have to go for it on 4th down if they get some sizable yards here. And there's a flag on the play. Looks like it's going to be against the defense initially. Yeah, so it seems there was 12 men on the field for the Irishmen there. You'll take that. Any sort of mental mistakes from your opponent is just going to help momentum. Just stay on your side. And, for these young guys, it's easy to get frustrated. I myself catch myself getting frustrated over really minor things. And some of these young guys, I'm sure, can relate to that feeling. But that's one thing you cannot do. You got to have a level head here. You got to know what you're playing for. This is, like I've said, pretty much a playoff game for these two teams, and those types of errors are not really going to suit you well. As Webb rolling out to the right, looking downfield, and it's going to be a little bit short. He had Wyatt Penny pretty open there on the kind of play-action boot. Unfortunately, they could not connect, and it's going to lead to a 3rd and about 8 yards. And looks like there's some more talking from the refs. No, they're just getting the ball ready to set there. And it does look like Mayhew is back in the game, which is very good if you are a Red Devil fan, as Webb's going to dance around in the pocket, try to make some guys miss. Ended up going to get wrapped up and taken down by None other than the guy who I think his name is going to be tattooed in my brain. Number 8, Levi Lynch, but there is some laundry on the field. Looks like it's probably a hold on the offense. But we're going to see what our Zebras think. It will be a holding on the offense. And it will be declined by the Irishman, and it will set up a 4th and 17, let's say. After the pick right there from Brady Wilson, really just not getting anything going on offense, pretty much just going backwards for the most part. Not the way you want to use a turnover, but, you know, with a good field position, you can feel confident that Webb could potentially get a good bounce there and pin him, hopefully, past the 20-yard line. We'll see here as Webb's going to take the punt. And a high skying punt, a little bit short. And it's going to take a nice East Jordan bounce to about the 30-yard line. And we will be right back. We'll give a quick word from our sponsors. Remember, this is Jared Stamen and Ryan, our camera guy. We'll be right back.
Charlevoix State Bank was founded in 1994 to provide exceptional local service to our northern Michigan community. With 6 locations in Charlevoix, East Jordan, Boyne City, Ellsworth, and Beaver Island, we're here to make banking easy, right here in your neck of the woods, with people you know. Charlevoix State Bank believes in the positive lessons of high school athletics.
And we're going to get right back into the action here as Tegan Duffy is going to be wrapped up around the line of scrimmage. Looks like number 56, Wyatt Dion, one of the first Red Devils there on the tackle. And I kind of mentioned this a bit on the last drive, but the first down for a lot of the Irish drives have gone backwards. This defensive front, they've tried to run it a lot of times on first down, and this defensive front must have seen something in film because they're ready. I don't know if they've gotten more than 1 to pushing it 2 yards on first down when it comes to running. Great start from the from the Red Devils defensive front. We're going to see a 2nd and 10. Looks like there's going to be a fumble on the botch snap. Dion and Mayhew there to make sure that no funny business goes on with that recovery. And that's going to be a sizable loss there, looking to be about 6 to 7 yards. We'll say 7 yards there. 3rd and 17. And after the 3 and out from the offense, the defense is trying to pitch out a 3 and out themselves. Looking pretty promising here. Nate Seiler under center. We got trips out to the short side of the field. And we're going to see a blitz. Ends up being a screen. And that will be Tegan going down the field. Finally tackled down by Brady Wilson. But that is another big play by Tegan Duffy, number 5. You know, on defense, I've been covering number 8 Levi Lynch a lot. But on offense, I got to say, this Tegan Duffy has been really punching some holes here in the defense for East Jordan. Almost all of their positive plays have gone to him, whether that is in the passing game or the running game. Looks like the key to success for the Irish is give number 5 the ball. And for defense, you know, as we get closer to halftime, I think some of the adjustments are going to be, where is this guy? Locate him at all costs. You know, he's their Jamar Chase. He's their X-factor player that they've got to cover for. As we see a fresh set of downs for the Irish, 1st and 10 from the opponent 37. And that is Duffy again. Dion in the backfield trying to wrap him up for a TFL. Duffy slipping the tackle there. And like I said, this first down, they try to run the ball. It's the first time I think they've gotten over 2 yards on a first down run. And even then, actually, I don't even know if that is 2 yards on the dot. They're going to give him a 2nd and 8. And Wyatt Dion had a chance to make that a play of -2 yards. Just these early downs, this defensive linemen are getting the penetration quickly and just getting up to the backfield trying to just hit whoever they can. we're going to see the snap to Seiler and going to be handed off to Duffy. He's going to barrel his way for a nice 6-yard gain there. Looks like one of the first guys there was Garrison Henry for the Red Devils on the tackle. So far from both these offenses, you've really just seen the big plays be the key to success for these guys. These long, sustained drives seems to almost always get derailed by some sort of mental error. And this is going to be a 3rd and 4 for the Irish. Defense looking to make another stop here, as they're going to bring a blitz, and the quarterback is going to keep the ball, and he's going to get the first down, tripped up around the 20-yard line there. And Trace Weinkoop was there to trip him up. And we're about to approach under 2 minutes in this first half, and it's pretty much flown by. Both these teams just trying to run the ball as much as they can. These first couple plays were bang, bang, bang. First four possessions, 3 touchdowns. Slowed down a little bit since then. Irish trying to change that right here on 1st and 10. Going to be a handoff to Duffy, and he is going to be swallowed up by Dion in the backfield. And earlier on that last drive, or that last play, Dion was a little bit short, didn't quite get Duffy in the backfield. This time, he says, that's not going to happen again. And he gets him down for a loss of 1. And we're going to see a timeout, I think, by the offense here. And while we have a timeout, I'm going to send you quickly to break. Jared Stamen, Ryan, our camera guy, Next Level Broadcasting. We will be right back.
Today's game is brought to you by Professional Seamless Gutters, Burnett Foods, The Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center, Charlevoix State Bank, Interstructure Interior Design, TVC Cherry Capital Airport, EJ, East Jordan Plastics, and Active Recovery, Physical Therapy, and Sports Rehab. We hope you are enjoying tonight's game.
When it comes to designing your perfect home, everyone deserves a safe, functional, and beautiful home, and the Inner Structure is your source for residential interior design. You can see for yourself at their 319 South Lake Street location here in East Jordan to see why their space planning, kitchen, bath, furnishings, and floor coverings need to go in your next home renovation. Once again, that's Inner Structure, your go-to interior.
We'll make sure to give Interstructure another shout out. But right here, we got the play resumed a little bit faster, and it's going to be a quarterback keeper, and he gets hit behind the line. First guy there, Brady Wilson, usually more of the offensive guy, wide receiver, making some great plays on defense. The pick, and right there, the TFL for the Red Devils is going to be a loss of 2, and it's going to be about a 3rd and 13 here from the 20-ish yard line, or from the 21-yard line, just a little bit out of red zone range. As we've got under 50 seconds here to go in the game. Irish trying to make this the last possession of the half, as we're going to see a motion man, and there's another fumbled snap on the handoff, and he is going to be tackled down. One of the first guys to get there for East Jordan was number 51, Griffin Boyer. And that is going to be another loss of a good chunk. It's going to be about a 4th and country mile here. And it looks like they might just let this clock bleed into halftime here, as the game clock goes under 20 seconds. And there seems to be no rush from either team to take a timeout or call up any sort of trickery. And they end up calling a timeout with about 1 second left on the clock. Give them officially 1.6 seconds on the clock. I think the idea is, hey, one down. It's essentially untimed at this point in the game, and we're just going to give a shot to one of our guys in the end zone. They did it on the first play of offense for themselves, giving a 50-50 ball to Tegan Duffy on Brady Wilson, and Duffy ended up being the successor of that 50-50 ball, running it in for the touchdown. And I think that's kind of the mindset they're trying to think here is, hey, we've got some 50-50 balls. We got some guys we trust to make those plays. We got 1.6 seconds left. Let's go for it. And they do also get the ball at halftime. So one thing to watch is, hey, the Red Devils might be like disrespecting me a little bit trying to go for this fourth down. We're going to try and pick this ball off and run it back. I mean, that's some crazy talk, I know. But, hey, those are the thought processes that you might see from this team trying to, set the tone. And just it's a little disrespectful, you could feel, on a 4th and 20, being like, we're going to go for it. And, you're not going to make a play. We have a higher chance of scoring. And I think this defense is going to show them why that's maybe not the best play. As we basically got one more play left in the first half. Nate Seiler in the backfield and shotgun. Looking out left. And he's going to throw a jump ball. Bit of a mallard. And that has ended up being picked by William Webb. He does end up getting tackled by Maxim Lynch, who was their target. But, hey, I know Webb was thinking, hey, with my athleticism, we can get down the field fast. And ends up being halftime, and you can see these guys running off the field. Looks like East Jordan's got a bit more of a pep in their step than they did coming out here. I think they can smell the blood in the water, and I think they know that this is their time to change a 0-2 for the last 2 weeks to a win on the scoreboard. And as the halftime, as they go in the locker room, we are going to send you to some of our sponsors so Charles can pay his bills. This is Jared Stamen, Ryan, our wonderful camera guy, coming to you live from Boswell Field. We will be back in a bit.
When it comes to designing your perfect home, everyone deserves a safe, functional, and beautiful home, and the inner structure is your source for residential interior design. You can see for yourself at their 319 South Lake Street location here in East Jordan to see why their space planning, kitchen, bath, furnishings, and floor coverings need to go in your next home renovation. Once again, that's Inner Structure, your go-to interior home design located right here in East Jordan. When it comes to design, EJ is proud to support East Jordan Athletics here on Next Level Broadcasting, making it easy to stay in touch with your hometown team wherever you are. Compete with heart and play with integrity. EJ is the leader in the design, manufacture, and distribution of access solutions for water, sewer, drainage, telecommunication, and utility networks worldwide. Driven by unparalleled customer service, exceptional solutions, global expertise, and local understanding. That's EJ, a proud sponsor of tonight's game.
The Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center of East Jordan provides a safe place to be and a path to become for 6th through 12th grade teens with after-school programming 3 days a week with a hot, nutritious meal. On Thursdays after school, the Depot provides life skill classes like cooking, art, and career readiness. And new this year is Becoming You, a program for homeschool students that provides a structured environment, tutoring, and a healthy lunch. For more info on all of our programs, please visit ejdepot.org.
Now's the time to fly from your Northern Michigan hometown Cherry Capital Airport, TVC. TVC Airport will get you to your dream destination anywhere in the world. Visit tvcairport.com now.
Hi, I'm Orion, but you might know me for my business, Professional Seamless Gutters, where we specialize in, you guessed it, everything gutters. New installations, replacements, cleaning, leaf guards, rain chains, and much more. But unlike other service providers, when you call Professional Seamless Gutters, you get me, Orion, not some bum intern or call center recording. So when you're contemplating any services regarding your gutters on your home or pole barn, think Professional Seamless Gutters.
Now's the time to fly from your Northern Michigan hometown cherry capital airport, TVC. TVC Airport will get you to your dream destination anywhere in the world. Visit tvcairport.com now.
Today's game is brought to you by Professional Seamless Gutters, Burnett Foods, The Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center, Charlevoix State Bank, Interstructure Interior Design, TVC Cherry Capital Airport, EJ, East Jordan Plastics, and Active Recovery, Physical Therapy, and Sports Rehab. We hope you are enjoying tonight's game.
Charlevoix State Bank was founded in 1994 to provide exceptional local service to our northern Michigan community. With 6 locations in Charlevoix, East Jordan, Boyne City, Ellsworth, and Beaver Island, we're here to make banking easy right here in your neck of the woods with people you know. Charlevoix State Bank believes in the positive lessons of high school athletics and is a proud sponsor of tonight's game.
When it comes to designing your perfect home, everyone deserves a safe, functional, and beautiful home, and the inner structure is your source for residential interior design. You can see for yourself at their 319 South Lake Street location here in East Jordan to see why their space planning, kitchen, bath, furnishings, and floor coverings need to go in your next home renovation. Once again, that's Inner Structure, your go-to interior home design located right here in East Jordan.
Hi, I'm Orion, but you might know me for my business, Professional Seamless Gutters, where we specialize in, you guessed it, everything gutters. New installations, replacements, cleaning, leaf guards, rain chains, and much more. But unlike other service providers, when you call Professional Seamless Gutters, you get me, Orion, not some bum intern or call center recording. So when you're contemplating any services regarding your gutters on your home or pole barn, think Professional Seamless Gutters.
When it comes
And welcome back to the Next Level broadcast. As you can tell, we still got a little bit of time till halftime here, but wanted to go over how your Red Devils have been doing. As you can tell, there's been 2 touchdowns by both sides of both teams, I'll say. One team ended up getting the 2-point conversion, 1 for 2, that is East Jordan, and the Irishmen are 0 for 2, leading them with 12 points. And it is homecoming night, and I want to congratulate the homecoming court as they're being announced here, and we'll see 5 out of the 6 guys there are going to represent the East Jordan Red Devil football team, and they're proud to be out there. I'm sure their coach very proud of these young men and their accomplishments, not only on the field but also off the field. And one of the little kind of things we want to talk about is the line of scrimmage has been really dominating kind of how these teams play. They both like to run the ball. It's high school football, I would say. A good chunk of these teams, unless you're talking about some of these crazy Texas teams, they want to run the ball and dominate the line of scrimmage. And that's a smart thing to do. You can win the line of scrimmage. At all levels of the ball, your chances of winning the game skyrocket. It's been the Red Devils, and they have a great offensive line. None of us question that with Dion, Boyer, and Mayhew. And not only offensively they've been making plays, but defensively, first downs and second downs have been just their money-making drives. The Irish love to run it on first down, and I think the Red Devils want them to run it as much as they can because they've gotten maybe 2 yards on first down runs. They have just been stuffing them up. Either it's a TFL, they get back to the line of scrimmage, and it's Dion, it's Mayhew, it's Boyer. It is all 3 of them. It is usually one of them has the breakout game, but today it's been all 3 of them. I think they know what the implications of this game are after falling the last 2 weeks in heartbreaking losses, mind you. And they know this is pretty much a playoff game. It is definitely a football game, but more importantly, a potential playoff game in the sense of it is hard to come back from 3 losses in this playoff, especially with the way that the schedules and the points and the way they calculate all of that stuff, a little bit above my head, but important things for those, big followers of the sport. And as I mentioned, and I'll mention again, Snooze 2U, and that is Snooze number 2, and then YOU, is a website we use for all our mapitology, is what they call it. It's the way they kind of look at all the games and decide, how many points this is worth, and, if you're going to play a home game or not. And one of the things we also want to talk about is some of our other next level games, and as Eric would say, the next level broadcasting universe. One of the most important games that we have on our roster, besides this one, I would like to personally think this is the most exciting game that we have available to you right now. But for anyone else that is curious, as I load up some of the scores here, St. Francis is at Kingsley for a monumental game in the sense of playoff seeding. Both these teams are likely to make the playoffs, but, it is halfway through the season, and we could see a potential playoff matchup in this game. And St. Francis has looked pretty good all year, been to a couple of those games. Tyler Endress and those guys just really have learned how to win, coached by the Sellers there. As I load up some of these scores, we're talking about Gaylord St. Mary at Onaway. What can I say? Gaylord St. Mary's has been on a tear. They've been just destroying these opponents, putting in second and third teams. Sometimes they won't even start their starters because they're that confident. They've got depth at all levels, and it really shows. Pretty sizable lead, but it's football, and things can change kind of crazy. And another one of our games, actually, Eric Hoffman is at Mansalona. Is actually at Elk Rapids, watching Elk Rapids play Mansalona. Elk Rapids switching over to Ollie Trammell as their quarterback, making the move from Brandon Flutie. He's kind of taken more of that linebacker, running back role, and he seems to be thriving at that. Last week, most points they have scored as the team with 12, 2 touchdowns on the board, and ended up losing a close one to Elk Rapids. They ended up, final score was 13-12 there. As checking in right now on the Gaylord St. Mary's game, and, well, I can't say I'm too surprised. It is 34-0. And St. Francis looks like still kind of thinking on the computer right now on what exactly they got going on there. But Elk Rapids, I think they've got the momentum to turn it around. They're definitely underdogs at home against Mansalona, but they've got the ability to win. And each week I've seen improvement from this team. I believe in them, and I think they're finally finding belief in themselves, and that is the most important thing. As looking like Charlevoix-Benzie is in commercial right about now. And our last game is Charlevoix-Benzie. Another game that you would expect Charlevoix to win, but Benzie put up a pretty good fight against St. Francis a couple weeks ago. I believe they were actually up for a little bit of the game. I don't think it lasted all too long, but something to watch out. About 2 minutes, 30 seconds until halftime, and like I said, it is a blowout 34-0. The O'Donnells got to be happy about that, or Connells have to be happy about that game. It has been pretty awesome. And actually, the St. Francis game I can see now, and it is 0-0 at halftime. Defensive stand from both these teams. I can't say I'm too familiar with Kingsley, but I know what the Traverse City St. Francis Gladiators like to do, and that is running the ball, whether it's with Endress or, can't remember off the top of my head, but they've got a lot of talent back there. And they've also got one of my personal favorite players, Sam Wildfong, out there. Love to see a good guy who, in high school wants to be a kicker. I mean, he plays multiple positions, but a great kicker, great punter. Love to see some of that up in here in northern Michigan. You don't see a lot of it. You see a lot of two-point conversions and some trickery, as East Jordan does. They might not have the strongest kickers, and their kickers actually are linemen for the most part, which is really honestly awesome if you ask me. But as I keep rambling on here, I'm going to send you back to some of our wonderful sponsors. We'll be right back. 7 minutes, 30 seconds left till the third quarter kicks off. This is Next Level Broadcasting. Don't go anywhere. You are watching one of the best games of playoff atmosphere here in Boswell Stadium. Jared Stamen, Ryan, our wonderful camera guy here, and we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Orion, but you might know me for my business.
Hi, it's Kevin Klein from TVC Airport. We're proud to help keep you connected to high school sports in Northern Michigan, so you can stay in the game all season long with TVC, your Northern Michigan connection.
Charlevoix State Bank was founded in 1994 to provide exceptional local service to our Northern Michigan community. With 6 locations in Charlevoix, East Jordan, Boyne City, Ellsworth, and Beaver Island, we're here to make banking easy, right here in your neck of the woods with people you know. Charlevoix State Bank believes in the positive lessons of high school athletics and is a proud sponsor of tonight's game.
The Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center of East Jordan provides a safe place to be and a path to become for 6th through 12th grade teens with after-school programming 3 days a week with a hot, nutritious meal. On Thursdays after school, the Depot provides life skill classes like cooking, art, and career readiness. And new this year is Becoming You, a program for homeschool students that provides a structured environment, tutoring, and a healthy lunch. For more info on all of our programs, please visit ejdepot.org. The Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center of East Jordan provides a safe place to be and a path to become for 6th to 12th grade teens. With after-school programming 4 days a week and our new Becoming You homeschool support program 3 days a week, we are always looking for passionate people to join our Depot volunteer family. Simply visit ejdepot.org/volunteer to discover how you can make a difference in the lives of our teens.
Today's game is brought to you by Professional Seamless Gutters, Burnett Foods, the Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center, Charlevoix State Bank, Interstructure Interior Design, TVC Cherry Capital Airport, EJ, East Jordan Plastics, and Active Recovery, Physical Therapy, and Sports Rehab. We hope you are enjoying tonight's game.
And welcome back to the Next Level broadcast. Jared Stamen here. Camera work done by Ryan. Updates on some of our scores. Charlevoix is up against Benzie 42-0. Second blowout we have today. First one being Gaylord St. Mary's up 34-0 against Onaway. And our other game, final one, Elk Rapids playing Mansalona Ironman. The Ironmen are up 14-0 to start the second half. Not a great start if you're Elk Rapids, but hey, there's a lot of room to grow for your Elk Rapids. If you guys have watched any of those other games, the ceiling is a bit away from them, but each day they're inching closer, and that's really all you can ask from a football team. If you can see improvement week in and week out, especially at the high school level, that's what you're proud of more than wins, because those is how you build the culture to get those wins down the line. But one thing we've got to mention is a little bit off high school sports, as we've got 2 minutes, 30 seconds till the guys come back on the field, is some other Michigan sports. Mention it on the Next Level broadcast and show. If you have not personally watched that, highly recommend it. It's a good time, a lot of good banter. We keep it nice and short for you guys, not dragging on too long. And if you miss any episodes and like to check them out, go to the Next Level Broadcasting YouTube channel. It's not under the video tab, it's under the live tab, and you'll see it's called the Next Level Broadcasting Show. It's got the same banner every time you click on it. Available for all. Another thing I want to mention is our halftime sponsors. We want to really thank Traverse City, Cherry Capital Airport, and the Jordan Depot Valley Teen Center. Both some of our premier sponsors. But honestly, we're happy for each and any of you. No matter what level you decide to support the Next Level Broadcasting, we're happy to have you on our side. And as I said, into the world of Michigan. We've got Michigan State playing Nebraska. Coming off a loss at USC, ended up letting up about, I believe it was 45 points. Defense definitely not the strength, though, for that team, and they ended up, scoring 31 points on offense. Some promise there. A lot of still room to growth. Aiden Childs been looking better every week. I think he is legit, if you want my personal opinion. Another team, Michigan, I believe is on a bye week. Ended up winning last week in Nebraska, and hey, I don't think if you're a Michigan or a Michigan State fan, we can all agree Dylan Raiola and those Cornhuskers are corn balls. Dressing up as Patrick Mahomes, I can understand he's, now this might be a bit of a topic, but I would say for the last 4 to 5 years, the best quarterback in the NFL. And, if you want to model your game after anyone, kind of the guy you want to do it for. But at the same time, man, you're your own human being. You're your own quarterback. You made this on your own, not with Mahomes. So branch out a little bit, but that's my little tangent. And the world of baseball, the Tigers, I believe, ended up winning last night, keeping that playoff dream alive. Whether that's a dream that they want to become reality or not, I think a lot of people on the Next Level show would say, no, we want them to lose and teach a lesson. But they are actually up right now, 3-0, playing against the Boston Red Sox. Hopefully ended up getting a win there, and I'm kind of the proponent of, hey, you got those types of wins, you can put it together in the playoffs. I mean, a couple years ago, the Rangers, I'll say, not a team that people expected to win the World Series, and as we all know, they ended up placing, again, another team, the Diamondbacks. It ended up being a great World Series. Personally, rooting for the Diamondbacks, a little bit bummed by that, but that is neither here nor there as we got these guys back on the field getting ready for the second half of football here. Real quick, we want to give a quick shout out to another one of our sponsors here, Charlevoix State Bank. During a time of mergers, acquisitions, and name changes, the founders of Charlevoix State Bank saw a need for a truly local bank focused on their community and strong customer relations. Those values continue to drive them today as they are proud to support local Charlevoix County schools such as East Jordan and the Charlevoix State Bank. We want to thank you again for sponsoring Next Level Broadcast here. Last Michigan team, main team we're going to talk about. Sorry for you Central, Western, and Eastern fans out there. I will say, we saw a poll this morning, top 50 quarterbacks, and hey, I can't remember his name, but there was an Eastern quarterback around the high 30s, early 40s. So, love to see that for all of our Michigan schools. Want them to, depending on the way that pendulum swings for you, you might feel differently. But either way, last but not least, are the Detroit Lions playing the number one defense in the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns are the Browns. Everyone knows the Browns. I'm personally a Bengals fan. Unfortunately for all you guys out there, I'm going to have to break the news and tell you I am from Ohio. But don't worry, guys. My mother is Michigan Wolverine and a Grand Rapids native herself, and that's the part of my side I like to claim. My dad's Ohio piece. There's a reason I'm living up here. That's we'll put it that way. But either way, playing the Cleveland Browns, I've seen a lot of them as a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and we played on week one, and Bengals is a whole nother story, rabbit hole we don't need to go down. But Detroit Lions going against a team that just knocked off the Green Bay Packers. Packers, everyone thought, was a team that could potentially maybe go undefeated as a bit of a stretch, but definitely a Super Bowl favorite. And they went into Cleveland and ended up obviously dropping that L there. And run defense, their number one premier. And what does the Lions like to do? Run the dang ball. Going to be a good matchup there. I think as most people are going to say, I'm going to give the edge to the Lions. And selfishly, I'd love the Lions to win as well. If I'm not rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm rooting for my other feline friends in the Lions. But back to the game we have on hand here. We got about 20 seconds left until we kick off for the second half. Great matchup right now. Playoff atmosphere with the homecoming crowd. We had a little homecoming celebration in the middle. If you missed it, I believe out of the 6 men in the homecoming court, 5 of them were on this football program. Stand-up guys on and off the field. This East Jordan team is one of the premier teams I have seen, and big fan of these young guys and these program that they've got. That Adam Grabowskis has fixed up for these guys. And we're going to make sure that we got 12 minutes on the clock. And we're going to make sure that is the third quarter here as the kick is underway. And a bit of a squib kick picked up quickly there by Leland O'Connor. And what would you know? Another one of the freshmen for this Irish team. He makes a tackle. They make a play. There's a high chance it's going to be a freshman here. And I will say, on the other side of the ball, there's a good amount of seniors on the Red Devil team. Some of their best players, including Griffin Boyer. But that is rather here nor there right now, as we're going to see a first down from their 49-yard line, about to potentially breach over to the Red Devils line. Nate Sadler trying to take the snap here. And looked like there could have been a false start. It's actually going to be a Wildcat direct snap to Maxim Lynch. And Maxim Lynch is going to take that, looks like for about 10 yards there. Well, they're going to mark him a bit short. Looked like he might have got the first down. They're going to mark him a yard shy. Great run there on the kind of trickery on the Wildcat. Looked like Nate Seiler was going to get the ball obviously a little bit high, and you thought, oh, that's a bad snap, but it was actually a calculated snap and right into the hands of Maxim Lynch for the 9-yard gain there. Always curious to see how these coaches adjust for second half. I think one of the keys for the Red Devils is going to be stopping number 5. He has just been running all over them, and that for you guys moving here is Tegan Duffy, who I believe has both touchdowns for the Irishmen. As we're going to see some trickery here to Duffy, and he's going to make a man miss and get out to the edge. Foot race there with none other than Griffin Boyer. Griffin Boyer, enough speed there to push him out of bounds after the sizable gain there on 2nd and short. You know, it's one of those downs where you could see a lot from the offense. You could see a potential throw down the field, play action, or just picking up the first down and keeping the chains moving right now. Not trying to do anything stupid. I like the way that they're thinking. Under the Friday night lights, it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. Irish looking to get some points here early in the second half. There's going to be another high snap, and Maxim Lynch just has to jump on the ball, trying not to make any sort of crazy plays, and it's going to end up being a loss of 10 yards when it's all said and done. And one of the things that plagued East Jordan last week was bad snaps. Too high, too low. William Webb could have made a whole highlight reel just on him trying to make those catches, and he pretty much made all of them in that last game. And looks like the snap bug has gone from East Jordan to the Irish after this. I want to say the 3rd or 4th botched snap that has caused big loss of yards. Either way, it is a 2nd and 19. Going to be pitched to Maxim Lynch, and he's going to get back, looks like about back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe call it a yard shy. About 8 yards on the carry there. The defensive front, Griffin Boyer, Mayhew, Dion, just collapsing that guy. I mean, he looked like he got there, but once you got one of those dudes on you, just right behind is going to be the other. If Dion's the first guy, Mayer's going to be right there to just bring him right down. That's one thing this team does very well is team tackling. See an interesting kind of bunch formation here by the offense, and it's going to be another Wildcat to Maxim Lynch. Stiff arming. Looked like he got the stiff arm, but maybe the stiff arm actually caused him to get dragged down to the ground. I believe William Webb was one of the first Red Devils there on the tackle. And about 4 yards on the carry. It's going to be a 4th and 8 yards. Looking like most likely they're going to be going for this ball here. Like I said earlier in the match, they do have a kicker that they feel confident in, but he is actually out tonight with some knee issues. So would have been a pretty far field goal nonetheless, but no choice here for them. They're going to decide to go the ball here in pretty much the no man's land of high school football, the 30, 25-yard line. And that's going to be some trickery. The snap originally was to Maxim Lynch. Handed it off back to Nate Seiler. And he just got swallowed up by that big defensive front. And that's going to be a turnover on downs. East Jordan very happy about that right there. Momentum kind of starting to see, look, they had a good drive there. The Irish going to go down there and potentially score. Botch snap and then just disciplined defense from the Red Devils causes that ball to go back into the Devils' hands. And we're going to see Webb in the shotgun, flanked by 2 of his guys. Looks like Garrison Henry is going to be the one that ends up getting the ball, and he's going to be snuffed up for a loss of 2 yards, we're going to call it. And that's really been kind of one of the main things that these teams do is they like to run the ball up the gut. And that's a great way to tire the defense and give those linebackers kind of in that mode of, oh, we're diving down, so that when you do want to pass the ball, guys like Brady Wilson can get over the middle with those linebackers a little bit shallower than they would like to be if they knew it was a pass, and have Brady Wilson, one of your premier wideouts, breaking tackles and getting all the way down there for a touchdown. Like to see potentially some swing plays. We see this formation with the 3 guys flanking the right side of Webb. New formation here for the offense. I've not seen this other than this game. And it's going to be pitched to Beal. And he is going to try and make a one-man miss. And that one man was Levi Lynch. And disciplined tackling there. Getting through his blocker and blowing up Max Beal for another loss of yards. Red Devils just going backwards here to start the game. Start the second half. Setting up a 3rd and 15 here, and I'll say it until the cows come home. 3rd and 15, I've seen this team convert this more than any team so far this year. They are just money on these long plays. Adam Grabowskis really gets these guys prepared for these 3rd and long situations. So we're going to see Webb looking downfield, using his legs to escape the pressure, looking down to see that is caught by number 21, Indigo Knopf. Big play there by Webb. Good job managing the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, finding his open man, and great play by Indigo, getting up there, high pointing the ball, bringing it down for the first down there. And like I said, this is what East Jordan does. They put themselves in these seemingly bad spots on these 3rd and longs, 3rd and 15 pluses, and they just pull the bunny out of their hat every single time. It is really something to watch here, and that's something that as an opposing team is just killer. Giving up those 3rd and longs, when you think, oh, we got this is our ball, it's coming back right to us. East Jordan always goes, it's going to stay in our hands, as we're going to see him here 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. After some trickery, it looks like Beal is going to be the one who ends up grabbing the ball. Looks like about to the line of scrimmage. Maybe they're going to give him a foot or 2, but essentially no gain on that play. First down runs have been very, very popular, not only by the Red Devils, but also you'll see it a lot from the Irish. Are they going to switch it up? I think these teams have kind of figured out first down. We know how to load the box, and I guess that is what sets up play action. But we haven't seen it yet. That's the thing. As we go under 6 minutes in the 3rd quarter, William Webb keeping it himself, and he's got a lot of green in front of him. Looks like Mark Karami's going to try and catch him, but he is gone into the end zone. That is William Webb using his legs to scramble downfield for the 6 points. And that was a read option play there by the quarterback. He's reading the left side defender. If he attacks in for Max Beal, you keep it. And that's what he did. He dove in to get Max Beal, and William Webb with, I got to say, a veteran poise at quarterback. If you told me that this was his 5th game at quarterback, I'd laugh at you. I mean, every game I see development and poise from this young guy. I cannot speak more highly about William Webb at quarterback, and he's only a junior. So we're going to see another year of this. East Jordan fans got a lot to be happy about. And they're going to be lining up 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. And it looks like they want a touchdown, but they're not going to give it to them there. Oh, actually, that was the 2-point conversion that they ended up not getting. Keeping it 1-possession game. They end up getting that 2-point possession there. 2-point conversion. It becomes a 2-possession game. Still keeping it at 8 points, so for the Irish to get to this game to be tied, they'd have to score and get the extra point. And while we have a minute here, we're going to thank East Jordan. East Jordan, or EJ. EJ being the wonderful people where you go across the whole entire world and you look at a sewer grate, it's going to say East Jordan on there. It's one of the coolest things I've ever said. Remember when I was young and, we moved up here and, hey, look at the sewer grates back home. Look, it says East Jordan. Next thing you know, everywhere you go, you see them. But that being said, that is our sponsor, East Jordan, proud supporter of Red Devil football on Next Level Broadcasting. Make it easy to stay in touch with your hometown team and community wherever you are. East Jordan kicking off soon to the Irish. And this is one of those times where the onside kick, they've been kind of kicking it short all game, but if they could get an onside kick here, they really put the ball in their hands and their ability to potentially run away with it. Because we're going to see a bit of a squib, and it is picked up, and he will just go right down. I believe that was Cruz Coder for the Irish making the play. And it's going to be on the Sacred Heart 42-yard line. And for the most part, I don't think there's been, other than the first, I think both of their first drives were in, under their 30-yard line, in the 20s and the 10s. But ever since then, pretty much all these kicks have been a 35-plus, a lot of times around the 40 to 40, even 5-yard line. Short fields for these offenses. We'll see if they can capitalize here for the Irish. It's going to be direct snap to Maxim Lynch, and looked like he potentially had some room there on the left side, but ends up getting tripped up for about a 6-yard gain. Call it 7. Actually, call it 8. And Maxim Lynch, in the beginning of the game, it was Tegan Duffy who really was, the ball carrier, making all the plays for this team, and he's still out there, so there's not an injury, but Maxim Lynch has really taken over that spot and really started to dominate so far in the second half. Getting some nice runs here as we're going to see a 2nd and 2. Another direct snap to Maxim. And he is going to fumble and, bust his way over to about a 3-yard gain and a first down. And that was William Webb, the East Jordan Devil, on the tackle. A new set of downs here for the Irish. They had a pretty good drive to start the second half, got down to the red zone, and then a botched snap, kind of one of the few mistakes that they've been making so far this game, made it a 2nd and long, and they just never could get out of that hole. As we're going to see if they can clean up this drive so far has been looking pretty good for them. This is a first down, and it's a bit of a reverse play to Tegan, and there is some laundry on the field. Potential hold, I'm going to guess. And looks like there's going to be some discussion, but it looks like the offense is moving back, so likely a hold on the offense. Actually, excuse me, it was a false start. And that's really been the story for both these teams. They've had good drives going, and then they mess it up, whether it's a botched snap, whether it's a turnover, whether it's penalties. It's one of those three things. It's just really derailing them. It's not even they're missing passes or they're not getting big plays and good runs. It's just there's one play almost every drive where there's not points, and it just kills the drive. It's like ever since you get one penalty, it seems like all the momentum gets wiped away from the Irish Sails. Same thing for East Jordan. But this is a first down penalty, and it's only 5 yards. So, they've had a couple 2nd and 19s after botched snaps. So 1st and 15, all things considered for the Irish, something that they think that they could manage and potentially make this drive, still get 6 points, as we're going to see what Nate Saylor and crew are going to be up to on 1st and 15. It's going to be another direct snap to Maxim Lynch, and he is buried behind the line of scrimmage. Thomas Mayhew, the first Red Devil in the backfield, to surprise of no one, whether it is Mayhew, whether it is Dion or Boyer. One of those guys is just back there. I mean, if it's not a positive play, it's getting blown up by these dudes. They are just spectacular. It's really a pleasure and a privilege watching these guys play. As they're going to mark them loss of 1 on that play, so a 2nd and 16. Twins to the short side of the field. And it's going to be a quarterback keeper. And Nate is going to be good for about 4 yards, a little short of the original line to scrimmage there. And this is going to be a 3rd and long for the team, for the Irish. And, if you're East Jordan a 3rd and long, you're maybe not too worried. But we've yet to see big conversions from the Irish. Is this the time? This is the time in the game where, money drive, money time, this is where these big guys, in the big leagues, this is where they get paid right now, getting the ball down the field when you're down with a game clock that is slowly ticking and ticking and ticking. Third and 12 here. And it's looking like likely a delay of game. Yes, and that's going to be a delay of game against Sacred Heart. Not the direction you want to be going. 3rd and 12 already hard enough. 3rd and 17 really setting themselves up for failure. And it's been ever since that first penalty on this drive when it was 1st and 15, they just really never got the win back in their sails. And it's really just both these teams. It's just the penalties. It's like, I don't know if it's a mental error for these guys or it's just, the fact that they're playing a pretty good defense. But it's been really hard for both sides of the ball. Anytime they get these negative penalties, it's pretty much like, well, you're going to expect a punt. But we're going to see here on 3rd and 17. Saylor looking back to pass. And it's going to be a little bit high for Duffy. Closest guy there was potentially Brady Wilson, eyeing to get his 2nd pick of the night. And this is going to be 4th and 17. Irish bringing out the punter here. No reason to do anything too crazy. You still are only down 1 possession. But for the Red Devils here, if they can get points on the board, they got to feel pretty good about the way they've been playing. You can even see the energy from these guys jumping up and down as they call the timeout. And as they take a timeout, we're going to take a timeout. Jared Stamen, Reiner Camera Guy. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
Today's game is brought to you by Professional Seamless Gutters. Burnett Foods, the Depot Jordan Valley Teen Center, Charlevoix State Bank, Interstructure Interior Design, TVC Cherry Capital Airport, EJ, East Jordan Plastics, and Active Recovery Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab. We hope you are enjoying tonight's game.
And welcome back to Boswell Stadium. Jared Stamen, Ryan, our wonderful gamer guy here, bringing you a 4th down punt, 4th and 17 for the Irish. 2:33 on the game clock. We're getting to crunch time, as if you can hear, the bells are ringing here at Boswell Stadium, as long snapper making sure he's all lined up. Deliver a beautiful snap, and that is punted by Brody Collin. Picked up by, I believe that is Max Beal, making a guy miss. Getting upfield, makes another tackle miss, and a slip by number 75. It is off to the races. Nate Saylor, the last guy there trying to make a play. Garrison Henry might have gotten a black in the back as multiple flags fly on that play. They're going to call it a touchdown right now, but folks, I think this is going to be coming back. We're going to see what these flags are, but it looks like there also is a Red Devil on the field. I believe that might be Garrison Henry trying to make a block in the back. And he's slow to get up. Looks like there's some discussion on where the spot of this foul will be. I believe it is a spot foul, meaning that where the penalty occurred, they will mark 15 yards past where that happened, as Garrison Matthews was the injured Red Devil, and he's walking off under his own power, looking pretty good after a long play, potentially just a little bit tired, wind knocked out of him after playing, defensive drive, going right back out there on offense, on the special teams. I think he just needs a bit of a breather. He looks to be feeling a lot better. And there still seems to be discussion. They seem to keep moving back, unfortunately. But when it's all said and done, they're going to give it 37-yard line. Still pretty good kick return. I don't think, you'd love to see the 6 points for those Red Devil fans. But, a drive starting on your own 37, all things considered, you'll take it. And one of the things I want to mention is, I talked earlier about Kalkaska, how both these teams had lost to Kalkaska. And I'll finish my thought real quick after this play, as we're going to see Beal. Actually, it looks like a keeper to Webb, and he's going to throw that backwards to Brady Wilson. He's got a few blockers in front of him. Tackled around the 20-yard line, gain of, let's say, 17 yards. Great play for the offense. But to finish my thought, Max Beal, who was a bit of the eye candy on that play, was out week 3 against Kalkaska, and they also were missing Trace Weinkoop. Don't want to undermine his value, but Max Beal is really just the glue of this team, not only on offense, but also on defense. I mean, you can see him out there. He's a clear leader and just a football guy. He's got that, I'll mention it again, that Cam Scatabo, just that I want to punch you and, break tackles and get the first down, whatever needed to get the play. So we're going to see, again, that trips bunch, but to the right of Webb. I'm not sure what to necessarily call that, as Webb's going to hand that off to Beal. And Beal bouncing off contact, looking for the end zone, but getting about 6 yards on that play. Looked like he was close to breaking that free. And I can't say I would have been surprised. That is Max Beal's specialty, is breaking contact, getting to the second level, and then once it's a matchup one-on-one versus a corner, you're pretty scared if you're that corner. I mean, he's like the Derrick Henry of of high school football. He's going to stiff arm you. He's going to get your ankles and snatch them up, just make a play on you. So very close to getting that all the way, but still 7 yards on first down. Can't be too upset. And also, seconds tick off the clock. Webb's going to hand it off to Beal again, and Beal to the second level, and he will not be caught. That is a touchdown for East Jordan. And that is beautiful if you're a Red Devils fan, exactly the way you wanted it to go. After getting the touchdown called back because of a penalty, they go down, and I believe that was 4 plays, just dominating. 17 yards, 8 yards, touchdown. Actually 3 plays. Great offense. And I think you're starting to really feel that pendulum really start swinging towards the Red Devil team. And they're up right now 14 points, trying to get the 2-point conversion to make it 16. So it's a 2-possession game, and they cannot lose even if they get 2 conversions. And that is going to be complete to Wyatt Penny, and that is a 2-point conversion. Then that is a big 2-point conversion. Like I said, making it a 16-point game. So even if the Irish go down and score 2 touchdowns and get the 2-point conversion, they're at least going to have a tie on their hands. So really, really great football from the Red Devils. And while they take a quick break, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back. Jared Stamen, Ryan, our camera guy here at Boswell Field. We'll be right back.
Now's the time to fly from your Northern Michigan hometown Cherry Capital Airport. TVC. TVC Airport will get you to your dream destination anywhere in the world. Visit tvcairport.com now.
And after the quick break, we're going to be back at Boswell Field. Jared Stamen, Ryan, our camera guy here at Next Level Broadcasting, bringing you live Northern Michigan football. East Jordan just went down after a big kickoff, getting down to the 37-yard line. 3 plays, they punch it in for 6 points, getting the 2-point conversion to make it a 28-12 lead on this homecoming night for the Red Devils. Momentum surely in their favor. Looking to see if the Irish can get something together on offense and get some more points on the board. That is a high bounce, and Levi Lynch ends up getting that recovery and bringing it to about the 44-yard line. And one thing that the Irish cannot complain about is the way that their field position. They've started at the 40 or plus almost every drive here. Less than 60 yards, on paper you say, hey, we're starting at the 40 every play. We're going to be feeling pretty good, but only 12 points, 2 touchdowns, and we haven't really seen much action from them other than the first quarter. They're looking to see if they can bounce back in this still remaining third quarter. As Nate Saylor's going to get the ball and swing it out to Maxim Lynch, I believe. Actually, excuse me, that was Nico Vasquez. And he is going to be tackled for about, let's call it no gain on the play there. And again, what do you know? It's a 2nd and 10 for the Irish. Almost every single drive that they've had, it's happened at least once where that first down, they just can't get any yards. And they're actually going to say that they lost a yard on that play and give it a 2nd and 11. A little bit of a different formation. We're going to see Maxim Lynch out here at wide receiver instead of in the backfield. Looks like it's going to be a screen play to Vasquez. Blockers out in front of him, making Max Beal miss, getting out for about 9 yards. We'll call it about 10, actually. A little bit short of the first down. And looks like that is going to most likely be the end of the third quarter here at Boswell Stadium. If you're East Jordan, you got to feel pretty happy going into this half. Last couple games, you haven't gotten to 28 points. In this game, you got 28 points going into the fourth quarter, up 2 possessions, but not only 14.2 possession, 16 points, meaning they cannot lose, even if they go down and score touchdowns with the 2 points. So feeling good, all things considered, for this East Jordan team. Ball surely in their hands. As we're going to say a quick word from one of our other sponsors, Interstructure. In need of interior design overhaul? Or maybe you're in search of a more functional home design? Then look no further than Interstructure, located right here in East Jordan at 319 South Lake Street. Offering innovative solutions for your home, including space planning, kitchens, baths, floor coverings, furnishings, and much more. That's Interstructure Design. As we're bringing it back for the fourth quarter here in East Jordan. looking to see if East Jordan can finally put a game away. They were up 14 going into the fourth quarter last week. Ended up, as we know, unfortunately losing that game by 2 points. Definitely a different feel to this game, I will say. The last game, it felt like they were playing catch-up and trying to compete with the Lakers most of the game. In this game, the energy's there, and you're just seeing these guys. They're ready to get a win on the board. But first, they got to keep playing defense as they're going to take the snap here. The Irish, and that is Tegan Duffy, picking up the first down on 3rd and 2. I'm going to give them about 4 or 5 yards on the carry. And it's really been interesting. We've not seen a lot of Tegan Duffy in the second half. Really good offensively for the Irish in the first half. I believe both of the touchdowns in his name. And in the second half, he's been really quiet. And it's not only, as a wide receiver, but he was lining up a lot of backfield reps in the first half. Maxim Lynch just seemed to take that role, but looks like we're actually going to see Tegan Duffy back in the backfield here on first down for the Irish. And he is swallowed up in the backfield by Thomas Mayhew, one of the 3 phenomenal defensive tackle ends for the Red Devils, making another play on defense. And a 2nd and 12. How many times have we said 2nd and 12? We should get a tracker up here. 2nd and 12, 2nd and 11. Seems to be the favorite down for the Irish because they just keep doing it. Looks like there's going to be Thomas Mayhew. Looks like he was a bit banged up on the play, jogging off. He was a bit banged up earlier, came out, came right back in, and he seems to be a little bit confused on why he's not in right now. Replacing him is Damon Olstrom. All of that being said, it is a 2nd and 12 for the Irish. Nate Seiler there, but looks like there's going to be a false start. Wow. This second half has just been penalties, penalties, penalties. That's what's been killing these Irish drives, and you can kind of see it in their body language here. They're getting frustrated. After a lot of drives where, they look good, they're getting first downs. Oh, there goes that penalty. Oh, that's a 2nd and 20 now. What are we going to do? And a lot of times this defensive line doesn't give you a lot of time to pass the ball. And that's the other thing. See what they can do here on, it's all said and done. 2nd and 17. It's going to be a screen pass, a little bit high for Duffy, but he ends up getting it. Breaking a tackle there and snuffed up. Quite the hit. I believe that was Brady Wilson there, just stopping him in his tracks. Looked like there potentially could have been a face mask on the East Jordan Red Devils. I don't know if it was just a high tackle that looked like a face mask, but no laundry on the field. So as far as we're concerned, no harm, no foul. But that was a great 10-yard run there, making this a 3rd and 7, a.k.a. 3rd and manageable. Definitely 4th down territory for the Irish, trying to see if they can get their way back into this game. And Seiler's just going to keep it. And looks like Griffin Boyer was there to bring him down for a negligible gain. I think they're going to give him about 1 to 2 yards there, make it 4th and 5. Really big play here. I would say, as of now, this is the play of the game. If the Devils can get a stop here, it gives them the ball with 9 minutes left on the clock, up 2 possessions, and they'll be feeling really good. On the other hand, the Irish, they know this is almost a must-get 5 yards if they want to have a real shot at winning this game here. There still is a decent amount of time left, don't get me wrong, but the way that this Devils offense has been running, you really want to get points here. Going to see trips out to the right side of the field. Down closest to us will be Levi Lynch. But they're going to end up calling a timeout. Or, looks like, flag was thrown. Wow, that ref right there, he really threw that one up in the sky. Looked like it was about the same level as those headlights up there. And I think it's going to be against. Let's see what the ref is officially going to say here before we speculate. And from some chatter I hear, now I don't want to misinterpret, but from what I understood, I believe that was actually on Sacred Heart's coach, Josh Wheaton. And that's gonna be a 15-yard penalty, which is gonna make this a 4th and 20. Wow. That is a huge, huge penalty. My silence is a bit of stun, as actually they're going to be moving them back even farther. Or I guess I think he might have gotten flagged potentially twice, because it is a 4th and 25. That is a 20-yard penalty. Once all the refs figured out what everything was going on, that is a 20-yard penalty. This goes from a 4th and 5 to get back in the game to a 4th and a miracle. Wow. You know, this Devils team has got to be feeling pretty good about the way that things have gone for them. You know, after the first couple penalties on their first drive, they've really cleaned up their act, as we're actually going to see a timeout here by the Devils. But as I was saying, the Devils looked like, you know, it was a 4th and 5. This was a good game. This was like, you know, this was that play of the game. You know, this was where you could really feel everything. And next thing you know, you see a ref just throw that thing in the air. I mean, he threw that with intent. That ball, if he was throwing a football, I would like to say that thing would have gone pretty darn far. But that being said, the flag gets thrown, and ends up being a 20-yard penalty. And unless I'm mistaken, I believe to get 20 yards from 4th and 5 to 4th and 25, there would have to be more than one. Mind you, I'm not as familiar with college football, with high school football, as some of you might be, but I think there might have been 2 penalties on the coach, or maybe one on the player, and then it caused the coach to react. Who knows? I wasn't fully down there. I couldn't hear all the words being exchanged, but all that matters is that it is a 4th and 25. Miracle needed for the Irish. Devils, crowd's getting into it. Bench is pumping up the crowd. Energy and momentum, very much so on the home team side. And it looks like they're actually going to punt the ball here after the big penalty. With 8 minutes and 5 seconds, I actually would say that is the smart play. You can still get a pick. Your defense hasn't played terrible. They've played pretty good. That last drive was a kickoff return pretty much. That's what caused the touchdown or got them into the good field range. So turnovers, definitely still on the board. Don't want to say that this game is over, because, it is not over, especially considering this East Jordan team, respectfully, has kind of given up some 4th quarter leads. So let's not counter, as I believe it was the gambler. Is that Kenny? I can't think of his last name. Kenny Rogers, maybe? I could be making that up. But you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. You don't want to, count your cards right now if you're East Jordan. And still just a lot of confusion. The ref is talking to the Sacred Heart coach. I think he's just trying to really understand what happened. And you and me both, Josh, I don't know what really happened. I've not seen a 20-yard penalty, and that was really just momentum killer. It's been a game killer a little bit. It's been about 3 to 4, maybe even 5 minutes of us just kind of like, what's going on here, guys? But it looks like the Zebras are finally getting everything situated, and we're about to see an Irish punt here from Brody Collin. Max Beal, the return man, and he's just going to let this bounce. He's not going to risk returning it, and it is going to be marked about the 24-yard line, let's say. Now this is the drive to just be killer. This is where you set your eyes to the throat, and you're just going all the way. They score this game, make this a 3-possession game. I don't want to call it done, but I would like to think that they're going to be feeling really good about their chances of winning this game. And for the Irish, their defense has shown ability to get TFLs, and this is what they're going to want to do right now. The offense is going to be running the ball. So see if this defensive line can get some penetration in the same way that the Red Devils have been able to get defensive line penetration. And we're going to see this set, and I'm going to call it the Webb cluster. It's back in the backfield with Webb, and they've got two to his right and then one directly kind of behind him, and that will be Max Beal. And it was a bit of a low snap, but scooped up by Webb, handed off to Max Beal, and he's going to run up to about the 35-yard line there. Give him about 12 yards on that carry, 11. Either way, it is a first down for the Red Devils. And this is the Max Beal, William Webb show right now. Read option is going to just be the killer. If they can just read option their way down this field, maybe give it to Brady Wilson on a couple screen passes or something. In my opinion, that is the recipe for success. You're keeping the clock moving as much as you can and getting the ball in the hands of your guys who are going to make plays. And trusting that big offensive line you have up front. As another low snap handed by Webb. And looks like he won't go for no gain. Walter McDonald and Caleb Strouch there on the tackle. And believe it or not, one of those two is another freshman, Walter McDonald, number 72. One of the other freshmen on this Sacred Heart team. And I will say, considering that they have multiple freshmen starting at multiple skill and in very important positions, this team is really great. And I want to give a lot of credit to the way Josh Wheaton has been coaching these young guys to get them to compete with this varsity level squad, which is mostly juniors and seniors. And looks like East Jordan is going to end up taking a timeout here, and we're going to take one of our final timeouts in this game. We're going to go back to commercial break real quick. This is Jared Stamen, Ryan, our camera guy, coming here from Next Level Broadcasting. We will be right back.
When it comes to designing your perfect home, everyone deserves a safe, functional, and beautiful home, and the inner structure is your source for residential interior design. You can see for yourself at their 319 South Lake Street location here in East Jordan to see why their space planning, kitchen, bath, furnishings, and floor coverings need to go in your next home renovation. Once again, that's Inner Structure, your go-to interior home design located right here in East Jordan.
And back to Boswell Stadium, Jared Stamen here with Ryan, our camera guy, bringing you live Northern Michigan high school football from the Next Level Broadcasting. Want to give a quick shout out to Charles Strail, big honcho man. Earlier had an interview with Adam Grabowskis, the East Jordan head coach. Talk a little bit more about that after this play. As Webb's going to hand out to Max Beal, and he is going to be wrapped up, but keeping those legs turning, getting an extra 2 or 3 yards, and it looks like that was number 62, Brendan Irvin for the Irish, with a little bit of extracurricular after the play on Max Beal. And there is going to be a flag thrown, most likely going to be unsportsmanlike contact, but it also looks like there might have been an offsides in addition on the defense. Not a great start if you're trying to get defensive drives, giving these guys an extra 15 free yards here. But as the refs figure out the chains and everything, Charles Trail interviewed Adam Grabowskis. And one of the things he kind of said was, they haven't really been fully healthy. And, they were missing in their Week 3 loss against Kalkaska, Max Beal, and Trace Weinkoop. And in the second game back, William Webb, and that Week 4, when Max Beal came back, William Webb struggled a little bit at the end with I think it was a calf strain. Just injuries that seem to be fully healthy and clicking on all cylinders this week. A full week of healthy practice clearly is doing wonders for this East Jordan Red Devil team. As Webb's going to pitch it out to Beal, looking for an edge. Garrison Henry trying to get some lead blocks there, but Levi Lynch there finally making the tackle. But what do you know? I see another flag on the play. And early indications are going to be a holding on the offense. Giving one right back to the Irish. That's something that they could really use. Any little momentum in their favor is momentum that they will take. And we officially have 6:29 left on the game clock. Still time. Not plenty of time, I will say, but there is still time for this team to make a play, the Irish that is, and come back into this game. One pick, one fumble, and especially if that becomes a fumble 6 or a pick 6, it's a one-possession game. That is, if they get the 2-point conversion. That is really the pivotal thing. If they score the ball and don't get the 2-point conversion, then it is still a 2-possession game. So doing a little bit of forecasting here, but not only if they get the touchdown is important, they got to get the 2-point. But Webb's going to keep the ball here. And 75, first on the tackle, that is Caleb Strouch. And he will bring William Webb down, about 5-yard gain after the penalty. Make it a 2nd and 10. But before we do all the forecasting on getting the 2-point conversion and getting the touchdown, they got to get a stop. And this line is rolling. Max Beal is rolling. William Webb is rolling. In front of their homecoming crowd, they're really ready to bring home the win. Krapowskis just checking, making sure everyone's on the same page with the play. We're going to see a pretty, not a full house look, but a pretty heavy set from the offense. Oh, it's the Webb cluster, excuse me. As William Webb's going to outrun someone, getting to the edge, and he is gone. Looks like he's going to make a guy miss, cutting back inside. Going to mark him down about the 20-yard line, but there was a flag thrown early on in that play, and if I was a betting man, I'm thinking we're going to see a hold on the offense here. The Zebras are going to discuss, make sure that they're on the same page here, but likely this is coming back. Looks like they're still talking, but it looks like the Red Devils know that it was on them, and it could just be determining where the foul happened to determine the spot. I will say we give sometimes the refs a little bit of I don't know if a hard time, but impatient, we could say. But one thing that we're not accounting for is they don't have New York to go say, hey, what do you think of this call? Can you instant replay for it? No. They got to do it all on the fly. They got to talk it out. Well, I think this is what I saw on the clock, so I want to give a shout-out to the refs here, making high school football a reality, because without these guys, we wouldn't have a game. And after the penalty, it's going to be a 2nd and 29. So another one of the long drives, long first downs potentially here. But, hey, if any team could do it, we know it's East Jordan. Max Beal's plummeted up the middle. Tegan Duffy, the first Irishman there to bring him down. It's going to be a modest gain. Give him maybe 6 yards there, but they're just happy to have this time keep clicking. Go tick-tock, tick-tock. About 4 minutes away from capturing their 3rd win on the season, and I would easily say their biggest win so far. They knew that they had to win this game coming in, being 2-2, dropping the last 2 winnable games, mind you, on the last second. Today, they have had that killer instinct when they've had the chance to the opportunities to score points. Turnovers have not been an issue. Penalties, for the most part, have been clean. It's been a great game for the Red Devils. And Max Beal is going to hand it off, or hold it himself again. Going to give them 3 yards on there, setting up a 3rd and 21 maybe, but they're really not too upset about it. They're going to be punting the ball back with 3. Well, there's just a timeout here by the defense, and it looks like the timeout occurred about 3:11 on the game clock. Giving their offense still a chance. And we saw a kickoff returned against East Jordan in week 3 for a touchdown. And it was around, I believe it was actually 3:05 officially was on the clock when they kicked the ball off. 3:11 right now on the clock. Similar time. Maybe you're going to see another kind of crazy play go against East Jordan here, but I would like to think Adam Grabowskis has pretty much made it clear those last 2 weeks in practice. I'm sure they've practiced kickoff coverage 100 times, at least. These guys are probably pretty ready for that. I think you even might see them just punt this out of bounds and just not even risk it. I think actually, after kind of thinking through it, that's the way to go. Don't even risk it. Even if you played it 100 times, it only takes one wrong turn to have it go for 6. We're going to see Nate Seiler. Well, we will see Nate Seiler here after this play. William Webb to punt it away for the Devils. Decent punt his first time. Looks like this one a little bit better. It's going to be fair caught about the 25-yard line there by the Irish. Brody Collin taking that punt return. Setting up for their most important, well, I would say this is their most important drive that they've had so far. You could say last drive was debatably up there as well. Crazy penalty happened, as we'll remind you, was 4th and 5, and coach penalty, and potentially in addition to something else ended up making it a 4th and 25. They had to punt the ball away to East Jordan. Get the stop here, but East Jordan got 5 minutes off the clock during that drive. Looking to score quickly here if you were the Irish, and that would be a drop. That was Seiler throwing out to I'm not sure. I think it was Maxim Lynch on the target. And him and Tegan Duffy have really been the guys to note for the Irish. They've been really the only guys who've seemed to be able to make plays. Not that the quarterback hasn't really had a chance to throw the ball a lot. They definitely focus more on the run in this offense here. Time to pass the ball here at 3:02 left on the clock, and they need points, and they need them now. You're going to see Seiler in the shotgun, getting that out to Leonard O'Connor. And after that's all said and done, they're going to be maybe a yard short. Setting up a 3rd and 1. 2 downs territory. But the thing is, this is, a point where you'd like to run the ball, but you really can't, because if you do, you got to be up to the line of scrimmage fast, because not only do you need points, but you need more time to score again, mind you. Seiler in the shotgun. He's gonna throw it out in a screen pass to Leonard O'Connor, and incomplete. Bounced right off of his hands. Throw it, a tad bit high, but definitely one that O'Connor would like to have. And they had pretty good blockers in front of them. I don't know if that would have been a touchdown, but that surely would have been a first down and some. 2:52 on the game clock. 4th down. This is the only chance they have. If they do not get this first down here, they don't have enough timeouts for East Jordan to just run this clock out. Red Devil crowd getting into it, knowing the importance of this 4th and 1, and they're going to run the ball up the center, and it looks like they got the first down. Modest gain of about 3 yards there. But, hey, moving the change, that's all you can ask for right now if you're the Irish. Keep the ball in your hands, even though as the clock is running right now. they don't seem to be in as much of a hurry as you might think with a running clock down 2 possessions, making a substitution even. We got Twins to the close side of the field. Seiler taking the snap and rolling out to his left and hitting in stride Nico Vasquez, tackled by William Webb there. And that was a beautiful throw on the run. We haven't really seen a lot of his ability to throw the ball. This defensive line has just been dominant when he's had a chance, but to open the game, to bring it back a little bit, first thing he did, Nate Seiler, throw a bomb. I want to say when that was about the 30 or 25-yard line, it was like a 70-yard touchdown to Tegan Duffy. That was the first quarter. We are now obviously in the fourth with a running clock here. Under 2 minutes. Ball is going to be to Vasquez. He's going to be taken out of bounds by Garrison Henry. He is pumped up after that tackle, knowing that this game is getting really close to being over. They're smelling the victory in the air. Second and 10 here for the Irish. And it's going to be a screen pass out to O'Connor. And he's going to make a couple men miss and drag a couple East Jordan defenders with him. And ends up getting about 11 yards there and a first down. And that was a heck of a run there by Leland O'Connor. Another one of the phenomenal freshmen on this team, and they end up spiking the ball there on first down. The Irish giving their offense as much time as possible to having a miraculous comeback. At this point in the game, I think we're in the territory of if they could score here, onside kick, go score again, one of the all-time great comebacks, potentially with 1 minute and 31 seconds left on the clock. Are we going to see that? Because they also do have no timeouts. That's another thing to mention. Sacred Heart has no timeouts. That's why we saw the spike there, and they probably would have spiked that ball anyway there, but that's rather here nor there. This would be truly an incredible comeback as we're going to see Mayhew jog off the field here on second and long. He is a tired guy. He's been struggling with a couple injuries in the game. Looks to be talking to his coach here, frustrated about potential things that are going on in those trenches that the camera doesn't quite capture. And we're going to see another timeout here by East Jordan. Make sure that they're set. They're not going to let some crazy touchdown happen here at the end of the game. But real quick, I want to give shout out to one of our sponsors, last but not least. And one of my personal favorites in the sense, I've used them quite often, Traverse City Cherry Capital Airport. Hey, Northern Michigan, it's time to get away to your dream destination. And your local Northern Michigan connection, TVC, is here to help this fall. So when you look to fly, take to the sky with TVC. TVC Cherry Capital, Traverse City Cherry Capital Airport is your best gateway to the world. So visit tvcairport.com for up-to-the-minute flight schedules and to book your next getaway. And one timeout left for East Jordan, none for the Irish. As we're going to see a 2nd and 10 after the spiked ball here. Seiler trying to get his second passing touchdown potentially. And that looks like Dion there on the pressure, running him out of the pocket, making him throw that a little bit earlier than he wanted. And he tackled him after the throw. And they're going to, looks like I saw a little bit of yellow on the field. They're going to probably call this a late hit and give the Irish a new set of downs here, and it's again untimed. That clock will stop, I believe, after the penalty. And you really can't necessarily be upset with Wyatt Dion. He's had a couple times where he's gotten close to the quarterback, and that time he really wanted to get that sack. I think whether that ball was coming out or not, that quarterback was getting tackled in his mind, and it ended up costing them a little bit, but feeling pretty comfortable with 1:26 officially on the game clock. 1st and 10, but they are on the Red Devil 21-yard line, so It's not a game yet, folks. Let's see if Seiler and crew can get some points. And that's Dion again on the pressure. It is going to be picked off by Griffin. Boy, will he be caught on the for 6 points? The Red Devils defense seals the game on a miraculous pick 6 from the big Griffin Boyer. Energy is electric up here in the booth and down in the stands, as I'm sure you guys can hear. What for the Red Devils? They came in here, a lot of questions had to be asked after some fourth quarter, blow-ups, quite frankly. And they came in here and they delivered. Pretty much this whole game after the first quarter, they just looked like the dominant team. They had the energy, the bench was involved. No doubt the homecoming crowd helping in that factor. But you really got to be really happy and proud of your guys if you're Adam Grabowskis. And if you're Griffin Boyer, you got to be pretty happy that presumably one of your first touchdowns, if not your first touchdown, is coming on your homecoming night. Nonetheless, your senior night. A play I'm sure he'll remember for a long time here, as Wyatt Penny's going to try and get the 2-point conversion, but he's going to be that's Garrison Henry on the 2-point conversion. He's going to be marked short, no good on the 2-point conversion, but I don't think they're really too upset being up 22 points here with 1:09 left on the game clock. East Jordan making a statement there on defense. Wyatt Dion, the previous play, got an unsportsmanlike contact, brought them to the East Jordan 21. Looked like, hey, we might see a score here and have ourselves a bit more of a competitive game. Wyatt Dion, next play, pushes Seiler up in the pocket, throws a bit of an error throw, and who was waiting? Griffin Boyer. Big old mitts waiting right there to grab that ball, and he ends up taking that corner, sees a lot of green grass, and I bet that's the fastest he's probably running his whole life. And you can see him on the sideline right now. He is huffing and puffing, taking a seat on the bench. Him and Max Beal knowing that they worked their tails off today, and they have to be proud of the performance they left out here on the field. Unless there's some crazy happening, East Jordan is going to likely move to 3-2 here and likely also take Sacred Heart's playoff spot. Snooze to You will have it updated. I believe it's Sunday night, as that's going to be recovered by Sacred Heart. Bit of those kind of squib kicks there from the special teams from the Red Devils. 1:09 on the clock, no timeouts on offense. Minus some absolute miracle, I think that we can say this game is going to be going in the Devils' favor. And real quick, while we have a moment, well, actually, let's watch this play here. Let's see if we could potentially see Seiler moving out to the right, throwing, on the run to Brody Collin, and he caught it, but that was a big hit. I believe that was William Webb, and I think they're going to call a penalty on that hit. It did look a little bit high, and you could hear the pads pop from up here. Or it was a bit on the far side of the field. I'm not sure who it was specifically, but I think it was either Beal or Webb. Either way, heck of a hit. And the Zebras are discussing potentially the spot of the ball here, and maybe if that play was deemed unnecessary roughness or if it was just a great football play. Sometimes it's hard to tell from up here, especially on the far side of the field. To me, that looked like a heck of a football play, but ultimately, I'm not the one that throws the flags. And checking in right now, our next level universe, it looks like St. Francis ends up beating Kingsley 21-20. If you catch the game right now, you can see Charles Strail giving an interview to one of the St. Francis players. That is their biggest win so far this season against a tough Kingsley opponent in Kingsley. St. Francis, they're on a run this year. A lot of seniors, Tyler Endress and crew, they're in the studio. I can see them with them. They got to be feeling good. Sellers family celebrating, I'm sure, as well. And it looks like the St. Mary's game ended up finishing. I'm assuming that they ended up winning. By how much is the question? Looks like about 40-plus points, as all of our other games have ended. This was our last game the next level's got going on right now. There's still time on the clock, but I think, as we might know, the game is likely over. As I can see if I can get you some of our finals. It looks like Elk Rapids ends up coming back against Mansalona 15-14. They were down 14-0 at halftime when we checked in and scored 15 points unanswered. End up coming out of there with a victory. Really big for Elk Rapids on the next level broadcasting show. We actually were talking about this matchup. We were 50-50 on who we thought were going to win. I will say me and Shane were on the losing side of that argument, thinking that Mansalona was going to come in there and have a victory. But Eric and Charles, the veterans of the crew, end up saying, hey, we think Elk Rapids might sneak this one out. And lo and behold, they did sneak that one out. And last but not least, we're going to check in on our Charlevoix score. This one was also a bit of a blowout, but the final is probably going to be a little crazy. But back to our game right now. There is still a lot of discussion by these refs on what is going on. And I think I saw the final score for Charlevoix was 42-0 against Benzie Central. So a couple blowouts and a couple one-point games as well. Some phenomenal games so far. This was one of our games where we thought this potentially could be a down-to-the-wire one-point game like we saw in the St. Francis game and the Elk Rapids game, but ends up kind of being East Jordan dominating. And I can say having a healthy Max Beal is a world of difference for this team. He is just a stud out there. And, running behind Dion and Mayer and Boyer, that just helps you. You got a stud front three, and then you got a stud running back. It's a good recipe for success. And it looks like we're getting close to finally snapping this ball. It's been a good 5 minutes since we've seen action. Looks like we're finally about to get the play clock situated. It's going to be a 1st and 10 on the Red Devils' 42-yard line. Seiler looking downfield. That is Boyer on the pressure. He ends up getting it out to Tegan Duffy, and he's going to run out of bounds about the 39-yard line. Call it about a gain of 11, 12 yards. I mean, at this point in this game, we're just playing for pride, and they're trying to see if, hey, you know what, let's see if we can get our second half touchdown that's been so elusive for this team so far in this match. It would be, quote-unquote, garbage time, but still something to build forward to the next week if you are the Irish. Seiler looking downfield. And it is incomplete, but I will say he had Nico Vasquez on it. He ran a bit of a seam route up the center of the field, and he was wide open. I mean, like I said, it would have been kind of playing for pride at that point in the game, but wow. Bit of a missed throw down there. Ends up throwing into the double coverage on the check down, and it goes incomplete, as you guys just saw, setting up a 2nd and 10. And Seiler taking the snap, rolling out to his right. A little bit high for Nico Vasquez as he was open about 15 yards downfield. going to be a third down, and East Jordan next week is going to go and play Mansalona at home. Mansalona just played, as we talked about, the Elk Rapids Elks, and they ended up losing up. They were up 14-0 at halftime, ended up giving up 15 points and not scoring in the second half, losing 15-14, and Mansalona 3-1 going into that game, going to be 3-2, same record as the Red Devils, but Red Devils got to be feeling pretty good after having them choke that loss against Elk Rapids. Seiler looking downfield. It's going to be just short gain to Nico Vasquez for about 9 yards there. Accurate ball on the run. But it will set up a fourth down. Actually, looks like the line judge takes that back a little bit. It's going to be a 7-yard gain. Call it 4th and 3. As the Irish huddle for one of the last plays of the half, this Red Devil team came out in the second half, and it was a tale of two halves, quite frankly. It really was. Big plays in the first quarter. Second quarter, they settled down a little bit. Both teams kind of seemed to, be in a bit of a stalemate, throwing punches back and forth. And then the second half comes out, and it's kind of been domination from there. Turnovers, penalties have really plagued the Irish, and also just great football for the Red Devils. Don't want to discount what they've done. They've really just made great plays on both sides of the ball. Special teams has been great. They got a nice kick return that was a touchdown, ended up getting called back to the 37-yard line. Max Beal was the returner there. William Webb ended up breaking down a long touchdown. Max Beal on a screen pass, and a couple other just long drives down into the end zone. And then the last touchdown, my personal favorite, was Griffin Boyer on the pick six. That had to be, I believe it was let's do some math, 79-yard return. And Webb is just going to kneel this game out. And your final here in East Jordan is 34-12. East Jordan Red Devils coming up on top. We're going to go to break real quick, and I'll give you, well, actually, you know what? We're just going to do this right now. You guys have watched through enough. If anyone's still hanging out with me, I thank you for hanging on. This has been a bit of a slugfest near the end, just with officiating and whatnot, but I want to give a thank you to the post-game sponsor, which is EJ. As I mentioned earlier, they got their little greats all over the world. It's a little fun thing to always check them out and see if you can spot them there, but really a great game for East Jordan throughout and throughout. First drive, they had a couple penalties. Looked like, I don't know, are we going to see this East Jordan team we've seen the last 2 weeks, just mistakes and big plays, bailing out the mistakes? But no, you saw a complete game of football, all levels playing good, defense getting turnovers, getting into the backfield, and offense just, when they had the chance to run away with the game or take time off the clock, they did that. So this was Next Level Broadcasting. Jared Stamen, Ryan, my camera guy, giving you the lovely shots you saw all game. Want to give one last shout out to EJ, our post-game sponsor. And a couple plugs here. Make sure to follow the Next Level Instagram page. We're posting highlights there. All your favorite plays from the last week you'll get to see. Send them to your friends. Send them to your grandma. I'm sure teach her how to use Instagram if she doesn't know how to use it. But, hey, my grandma's 93 and she's got Instagram. So if she can do it, any of us can. And also I want to say, Next Level Broadcasting Show. I would check it out. We stream it on YouTube every Thursday at 6:30. It only goes for about an hour, sometimes even less, talking about all our local sports and all our Michigan sports as well. Jared Stamen, Ryder camera guy at Next Level Broadcasting. Thank you so much for staying here and watching with us, and have a wonderful